everyone. Today we have our another new episode on futuristic education. We have our world famous speaker, Professor David Smith, and Dr. Tamanna. I think Dr. Tamanna has internet issue. He is joining soon. Professor David Smith, what you want to discuss about today's session?
Sheree, thank you so very, very much for being on part of the program today. Now, the topic is future education. Um, let me, I have to answer something at the door. Sheree, I'll be right back.
Yes, Professor David.
Yeah, sorry, Sharif. Education has changed tremendously over the last century, and even so much more over the last decade, that we need to look at how education has changed, where it's going, and what's needed to be competitive in today's world. Um, as we've talked often about, the world has become global. Every business almost is global at launch. Actions are instantaneous around the world. The world has become digital, and the majority of the world has become connected. So this creates a new environment. The innovation life cycles are getting shorter and shorter and shorter, and they're compressing. And that compression is causing new needs of education. One of the things I talk often about is we're in a time where lifelong learning is necessary today. You have to have lifelong learning to compete in today's world. Uh, Gone are the days where you could go to school, graduate, go out and work, and then retire. Uh, the projections are that a person who actually graduates with an undergraduate degree today will have over 15 career changes, not job promotion, but career changes during their lifetime. And that type of change dramatically requires us to rethink education. Um, I also often say if you look at the prime basis of education today, very little has changed since the time of Socrates. And we're beginning to see massive changes where college degrees versus learning just in time, application learning are becoming more and more important. The ability to collaborate, the ability to pick up and learn fast are critical skills that we need today to be effective in competing in the world, in understanding. And we need to understand how to communicate at a distance as well as how to learn at a distance. Key skills for today. But Dr. Sharif, I think that is my opening remarks, and sorry having to answer the door.
Thank you. Dr. Tamanna.
Yeah, actually, personally, I feel um, children need to be taught critical thinking. That's the real need of the current futuristic education. You have to question everything. I mean, that's been taught to us by our philosophers from time immemorial. And there were only few people, slightly crazy, who questioned the systems and they changed the systems. I guess the need for critical thinking has to be inculcated in students, and ethicality has to be definitely, if the world has to survive, ethics is must. The two things which are of importance, of critical importance, are critical thinking, questioning, and ethics. You can't do without ethics. You know, the world is going to fall apart. I mean, we have seen wars, we have seen these things. Till the time children are not taught ethics, and so the people who grow up, and it has to be a lifelong learning. So, you know, you have to be taught, what is ethics, and, you know, in different situations. You know, for example, if you have a fight with your neighbor, or if you have a international war going on, so what should be the solution? The solution building situation has to be there. You know, how solutions come out of critical problems, you know, how to bring solution to those is a major concern of the current education. You know, and people need to brainstorm that, you know, like, I mean, I feel nothing can happen without ethics. If, you know, you are selfish, if you are you know, you're just bothered about your own future, and you are just bothered about money, you know, you can't really come up with innovative solutions. You're just minting money, and that's about it. You know, I mean, I have been in academia for several years now, and I have seen many people who into education who are just interested in teaching in good colleges, and, you know, getting good salary pay packets, and that's what they are getting. They, you know, and what they do is they follow a certain pattern. You know, they follow the previous philosophers, and they kind of grind them in a good language, so nothing original comes out. So originality and ethics are must in the present situation. That's what I've said. Current opening remarks.
Thank you. Professor David Smith, uh, like World Talent Economy Forum, we are closely working with emerging economy. And when we work with the emerging economy, we find that education is the major challenges for emerging economy. Even though today I have a program with US Embassy, Australian Embassy, as well as University Grand Commission and Open University. And I find that this is the problems for country like Bangladesh or for India or Nepal. In knowledge economy, we are not performing well. In Dubai, when I get the report from 133 nations, Bangladesh position 112. India has to improve a lot. Nepal also 101. So this is the indicators that we have to improve a lot, specifically in our education system. We have a lot of academicians who come from North America, Europe, Australia, and many more places. What is the solution? How you want to share your experience for industrial education? Because World Talent Economy Forum more focus on industrial education. How we can make progress in knowledge economy?
Well, Dr. Sharif, that is a great question, and one which is still beginning to be put in place. And, we look at education in a way where it is a process, really. It's a process of discovery, it's a process of finding key elements. And one of the things that has always struck me, if you look at all the Nobel Prizes in science and areas like that, they tend to be teams who win those Nobel Prizes versus a literary Nobel Prize. And that stresses that collaboration and group intelligence is so important. And one of the challenges we see today is that generative AI has really begun change the education landscapes. But there is a lot of misinformation in generative AI still, and um, other areas like that. I've mentioned earlier that there is now a high school here where I live in Austin, Texas, in the United States, where it is teaching almost the entire high school curriculum by using generative AI and tools like that. And it really has changed. So, to answer part of yours on how to do this in a way that supports it, you first have to really envision the desired outcome for the community, for the country, for society, for the schools, for the companies. And this type of pulling the pieces together are necessary to achieve the goals that you have. You know, uh, generative AI has already begun to change uh, education and training and will tremendously uh, do that. There is, for example, uh, there is a programming language that at MIT Media Lab called Scratch, which create lets you create and share products that even kindergarten kids can use and begin to work it. And we've heard of agile development in the software programming industry. We've heard of agile manufacturing. We actually need to go and adapt agile education uh, to really work well to achieve some of the goals you were asking about, Sri. You know, we need to foster higher level skills such as critical thinking, analysis, and strategy to go with the education that to meet the goals you were talking about, Dr. Shreve. I hope this helps answer your question.
Dr. Tamanna.
Yeah, I feel that, as far as traditional knowledge was concerned, it was more theoretical in nature. But now students need hands-on experience in the field of their expertise. Be it law, be it, because as far as, like, I mean, my university is concerned, right now I'm doing law. So in the first year itself, they're teaching me internships, and like, I'm doing all those things as of now. So it's very interesting because you are able to collate things together. So I guess that is true with every knowledge right now. Hands down experience is a must, and industry integrated programs are essential. So imbibed should be the whole issue of critical thinking. And the fact that we haven't been successful in, we have a materialist world right now. Everybody is interested in instant money. Nobody is interested in gaining lifelong knowledge. It's only very few people who are interested, and the change makers in the current century are going to be the ones who will delve into knowledge hub, and be able to come up with solutions to problems which are raised, solutions to problems which our philosophers way back, like Plato and Socrates, did. Why things happen, and delve deeply into it, but with a manner which is uh, you know inspired by many other principles of equity, liberty. These are like essential uh, thought processes which are essential for people right now. And value system, value based knowledge is must. So I guess till the time these things do not come in place, a better world, a more synchronized world with our human beings as a being, I as a being be able to live a fulfilled life. I mean, like Socrates and Plato, etc., they talked about fulfilled life. How people should be, and like, how should they live a life till 25, 30, after that. So it was like a made structure that they entered into. So 45 to 60, what are their roles, as they grow, that wisdom part increases. So after 60, what is the role? So I guess somewhere we need to have those essential points we should keep that in mind, that people lifelong need to study. So yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Uh, Professor David Smith, if you share your view about STEM education, science, technology, and engineering education, then how USA manage these educations and how it will be helpful for emerging economy.
Dr. Sharif, I agree as you're going through there. We need to look at where educators, company people, policymakers must rethink the existing education model. Uh, and we need to look at how we move to a more construction approach where students work hand-on, where we have project-based learning, and where we can push that to the next parts.
Dr.
And I
Tamanna.
think we can do that.
Dr. Tamanna, yeah. We are
Yes.
discussing about STEM education.
Can you tell me what is that?
We are discussing about science, technology, and engineering related education system.
Yeah. So I guess science, technology, um, I mean, obviously, since the Enlightenment era, the focus has been on scientific revolution. So, how science can progress, and how people should be instilled with a scientific temper. And even now, social sciences have been instilled with social. That's why they are called social sciences, because they have a scientific temper. So I guess even there we need to have normative concepts. So just seeking science, our philosophers have spoken about the fact that normative knowledge is must. So I guess somewhere, I mean, if you could kind of try and mix normative knowledge with empirical knowledge, that would be really interesting. And to see how engineering performs, architecture performs, how these things perform would be very interesting to see, because engineering also is crucial to the current century. So in fact, every thing is essential, but like engineering and the interest of developing world into in engineering is must. The software engineering, etc., is taking a front seat now. So what we need to do is that we have to have um, a normative approach as well. A theoretical based engineering, where the fact that people who do not know engineering. So I guess since childhood, math has to be taught in a way which is interesting to people, and students, for example, and engineering skills are instilled. So is the issue of science, for example. Science has to be taught at every level. I guess somewhere we should have that situation where we have to be interdisciplinary, where sciences and social sciences should intermingle. So somebody who's doing, for example, political science should be taught science as well. Physics, for example. I guess some universities are practicing it. Mostly, I mean, our in the developing world, students have less choices. Though now we have a better university system, but that's only to some of the expensive universities, private universities. Government universities still are lagging behind. So I guess, but I don't know, because of the fact that the world is more of social media, etc. People have a very fickle interest or focus now. So how to instill that interest in them is a challenge. Yes, that was my remark.
Thank you. Sorry, I have internet issues as well as electricity oriented problem. Professor David Smith, you want to add any point? I think he is in meeting. So in that situation,
Yeah, sorry, Sharif. What's the question again?
no, my question is that when we're discussing about STM education, so how we can enhance capacity in industrial educations.
Sharif, I apologize again. I really have to get on this other meeting.
Okay, thank you. I understand. Dr. Tamana, what's your closing remarks for today?
Yeah, my basic concern is the fact that, as much as possible, we need to have philosophical and critical thinking, analysis abilities which are taught to students, and they can be taught. For sure, we have people around us who have the ability, who have questioned the systems, and we can learn from the past. We have had forefathers and mothers who have done that, and we need to have a structure whereby these things are instilled into students, so that they can question their systems, they can question their values, they can question their parents, they can question their teachers. They are not above us. They're We can question God, for example. So those things have to be instilled into our people. I guess older people too, I guess they will live longer if they could question their own gods, their own faiths, their own tensions, in terms of their living, their society. These things are must. So I guess that's my closing remark.
Thank you. Thank you for joining today.
All right.